2006 is the first credit with Harry Gregson-Williams on Flushed Away, which is interesting because when we were making our documentary score, that was a score that he pulled up and said and showed us a scene that was really a kind of cool thing. I mean, again, like the movie's maybe not the greatest cinematic achievement ever, but the music is really cool for that. And so I was curious, your just kind of connecting the dots, your take working with Harry on that first project. Did you feel like you were, this was a kind of surreal environment, or did you feel like you had some comfort level in what you were doing? Obviously, you knew Harry.
Yeah, I knew Harry, but I kind of knew him, I was a child and he was an adult at that. When our first meeting, there was a significant generation difference, which obviously when you get older, I'm 46 now and Harry is, you wouldn't want me to say how old he is, or you can find it out on Wikipedia, but he's 15 years older than me. So, but when you're a kid, the difference between, a 10-year-old and a 26-year-old, you're just going to be polite. They're your elder and you're better. Now I'd say, Harry and I live very close to each other. Santa Monica, we would more than often, well, not that often, we would go out for a drink in our local pub, and we became very, and still are very good friends. And he still takes a huge interest in what I do, and I hope I do the same to him. But that, for me, when I went over there, I thought, because of all this stuff that I've just described to you in London, I thought, I sort of know, I know roughly what's going on here. I know how to do this. And it took me about 3 hours of being there to realize that I didn't know anything, and that this was all very, very different, very high powered, very high level. And I needed to think quick to survive. Because I was on a sort of, it wasn't just like come to Hollywood and everything's going to play out for you. I knew this was I wouldn't say it was an initiation, but Harry had said to me, I've got 3 jobs piling up: Flushed Away, Deja Vu, and the Number 23. And he had a big concert as well in Madrid. And he basically said he's overstretched. We'd already had some kind of conversation that if a moment presented itself, I'd love to, kind of thing. And he goes, well, Dave, this is the moment, because I've got a potential car crash of a schedule coming up. But it was only when I really, I remember hearing some of that music that you heard. And I'm now, funnily enough, did you come to Venice then? Did you come to a studio in Venice?
No, it was all Santa Monica. At the time, I think he's moved since.
No, back then it would have been Venice. It would have been, which is obviously adjacent with Santa Monica. Flushed Away.
It was home studio.
Okay, that was Santa Monica. I think I do remember seeing you guys there once, actually, but that's just by the by. I was just thinking your face was very familiar.
Okay. We crossed paths. Yeah.
Yeah, we have. Yeah. But he played me some of the Flushed Away stuff. Just was coming out of his computer, and I thought, how does this sound so good? You haven't even taken this to an orchestra. It already sounds sort of real. And I suppose I did have that sense. It was one of those moments in one's life where you think, I'm either going to get on a plane and just kind of walk away from this because I don't feel adequate, or I've got this bloody far. And I did have to give up. In England, I had to sort of say to all these things that I was doing, I had to say, sorry, I'm going to LA. And everyone was pretty nice. I guess there's a movie about this, like giving up your sort of everything and taking a gamble. So it was equal measures of sort of feeling, I don't know if I can do this, to thinking I've got to give it a shot. And I guess I gave it a shot. I was useful. I think Harry and I got on really well. In addition just to sort of a musical activity, we have this shared heritage from the English choir days. So, I mean, it was definitely, I will say this categorically, I did not come to LA. First of all, I did not come to LA and expect to get a career. I was certainly not the one that I've got. I thought that I'd just be a sort of backroom helping pair of hands, helping someone get something over a finishing line when time was a problem or clashing schedules. That's genuinely what I thought I might be able to do. And I certainly, when Harry was able to get me my first movie, I was sort of like, you sure? I mean, this isn't what I was thinking. So, I mean, this makes it, I don't know, because you don't know me, people listening to
How long did that take?
It took a year from Flushed Away did Flushed Away. Then I had to go back to England to sort out some stuff. He did Deja Vu, the Tony Scott film. Then I came back and worked on the Number 23, which was a Joel Schumacher movie. And at the end of the number 23, Joel said to Harry, I've got this Nazi vampire movie called Blood Creek coming up. There's not much money. And Harry, he goes, so if you can't do it, could you recommend someone? And Harry goes, I've got just the guy. And I remember we just finished the number 23 recording sessions, and I was back at the studio in Venice where we were. And Harry called me up and says, Dave, I've got you a film. And I thought he was winding me up. I thought this is like a joke. And he goes, you can do this Joel Schumacher film. And I don't know. I must have probably had to pinch myself or have a beer, more likely.